made the likes of Pernell Whitaker, Roy Jones, and Oscar De La Hoya into household names. Names worthy of big television contracts and big paydays. But for a fighter outside the United States, the routine is slightly different. Becoming a champion in a country like Ghana won't bring revenues anywhere near what a fighter living in the United States might earn.
In Africa, we promote locally. And because we don't have television, you know, all we depend on is the gates. And most of the time we lose a lot of money. Sometimes you have to bring a fighter from outside and you have to pay his tickets, his passes. But if you see a talent, you know, and you want to develop it, you keep losing money, keep hoping that someday you make it back.
Seth Asa is manager to the current WBA welterweight champion, Ike Quartey. Nicknamed Bazooka because of his fierce punching power, Quartey is the first from Africa to hold a world welterweight title. His journey to the championship began in the city of Accra.
The first thing I did was I promoted him to the African title, and then I gave him the international title, the WBC International.
Then he began fighting in Europe, and with the backing of the Akaris brothers in France, Quartey fought for the WBA 147-pound title. It is this pipeline through Europe that a fighter from Africa must usually follow. But to make the big paydays, Quartey still needs the recognition he can only receive by fighting in the United States.
If you find a great fighter, you have to find a pipeline out to showcase him from start and bring him to the United States. That's where, you know, he can make it big, you know. Because boxing is in America, you know, there's nowhere else.
Other fighters from Africa who have enjoyed this pathway to success include Sumbu Kalambe, John the Beast Mugabe, Cornelius Boza Edwards, and Azuma Nelson, the current junior lightweight champ. All have showcased on American soil, winning big to gain the recognition that brings in pay cable television money. Quartey is prepared to become the next marquee name in the West. In only his third fight in the United States, Quartey destroyed John O. Park in Atlantic City.
I can't believe that this referee...
Stop it now. Stop it now.
Listen to this.
Yeah, thank you.
I thought he come in like we start slowly, but he came in strongly. You know, the first round, the second round, I took it easy. The third round, then Martinez told me, look, you got to go. This is the time. So I went in and finished it.
Sharp-eyed promoters here hope Quartey will be the next true test for Pernell Whitaker. His proven skill at fighting southpaws puts him in a good position for Sweet Pea. But for tonight, Quartey will focus on Vince Phillips.
Vince is very good, strong, but you don't forget to come to meet the stronger guy.
With a good showing tonight and a couple of big wins to follow, Quartey is following a formula he hopes will be successful. After all, it's worked for some of the others who came out of Africa. Tail of the tape for Ike Quartey against American Vince Phillips. You can see that Phillips is almost 33 years old. Quartey with a 1-inch advantage in height and reach. 2-inch advantage in reach. Punch that numbers, Larry.
An indication of how active these fighters are in their last 3 fights. You can see that both of them throw about the same number of punches. Quartey much more accurate. Both of them use their jabs extensively. Quartey has an accurate, punishing jab.
And rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Ike Quartey Vince Phillips fight is scheduled for 12 rounds. There is no standing 8 count. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Only the referee can stop the fight, and he will be saved by the bell only in the 12th and final round. Jim.
All right, Harold, thanks very much. And we'll welcome Vince Phillips into the ring first. Huge fight for Phillips tonight. He's been brought here by a very rocky path. Failed to make the Olympic team in 1988 when he tried. And then after having turned pro, was bedeviled by drug addiction. He's had problems with cocaine, was suspended for 6 months in Nevada because of testing positive for marijuana. He's gotten himself straightened out in the past year and a half, comes in with a winning streak and a hard right hand, and hopes to make the most of it tonight.
And perhaps as important, he has thrown up to 120 punches per round. And since Quartey is the kind of fighter who lets his opponent spend himself on him, covering up and then going on the attack, if he can step up his punch output tonight, he could be a surprise.
And here is Vince Phillips' record. You can see 53 wins, the one loss to Anthony Baby Jones on a cut. He has power, as is shown by the 22 KOs, and he also has a tendency to cut, as was the case when he lost that fight to Anthony Baby Jones.
And in the ring with him is Kennedy McKinney, his old running mate from Las Vegas.
And now here comes Quartey with the championship belt being carried out ahead of him. Ga tribesman, as Larry pointed out, from Accra on the Accra Plains in Ghana. Won the title in his toughest fight, the 11th round KO of Crisanto España, and then has had 3 relatively easy knockout wins since that time. This may be his toughest title defense so far.
But one of the more impressive things about him, Jim, is that he is the last of 27 children of a father who had 5 wives. He has an oldest brother who won a silver medal in the 1960 Olympics. That's when Muhammad Ali was known as Cassius Clay and winning a light heavyweight gold.
That's when George was 11 years old and watching on TV. And we take a look at Quartey's record. 31 wins, 27 KOs. If that record sounds familiar, it's identical to the one sported by the terrific Roy Jones Jr. a few weight classes north of here. And right now, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the pre-fight introduction.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to a double rumble in World Championship Boxing in the welterweight division, brought to you by Main Events Monitor and AB Stars Production, along with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser. This Bud's for you. And the Atlantis Casino here on the Emerald Island in the Caribbean, St. Martin, Saint Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is sanctioned by the St. Martin Boxing Commission President Jacinthe Brian Labega. 2 positions at ringside will be Dr. Theo Jolet and Dr. Maurice Ferre. The timekeeper is Jim Barzell. This bout is also sanctioned by the World Boxing Association President Gilberto Mendoza, WBA supervisor at ringside Manuel Landero. The 3 judges scoring this bout on a 10-point must system sitting at ringside will be Washington Gonzalez, Orlando Sam, and Melchior Taylor. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, your referee, Julio Cesar Alvarado. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from St. Martin, Saint Martin, let's get ready to rumble! Douze rounds pour le championnat du monde, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Welterweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black and gold trim, weighing 147 pounds. He brings into the ring an outstanding professional record of 33 victories, 22 by knockout, with only 1 defeat. He's ranked number 10 in the world by the World Boxing Association. Ladies and gentlemen, from Pensacola, Florida, introducing the challenger, Cool Vince Phillips. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the gold, red, and green, and also weighing 147 pounds. A perfect professional record of 31 victories without a loss, 27 by knockout. He comes to us from Accra, Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the undefeated WBA welterweight champion of the world, Ike Bazooka Quartey. Okay, remember the instructor. Blow.
Corner out. Jim, Hurricane Lewis was so fierce that it actually stripped the bark of thousands of trees here in St. Martin. If Ike Quartey can strip the bark off Vince Phillips, we'll know he's something fierce.
And you heard Phillips' longtime buddy and running mate, Kennedy McKinney, standing behind him, screaming, new world champ, during Buffer's introductions. Vince Phillips says he got into boxing because at age 17 he had a dream that he was fighting for the championship of the world. He never saw the end of the dream and hopes to see it tonight. Phillips starting out as the aggressor. He's landed a couple of jabs. Quartey likes to keep his hands high and counter with hard punches when his opponent attacks.
Quartey got a good left jab. And you see guys with left jabs in the boxing business, they seem to have a long life. Keep that left hand working when you can't do anything else. Finally, the whole world opens up to you.
George, they like to say a puncher's puncher will lean into the left hook and turn the right hand over, and Quartey does both.
He's got it all, but he works everything, comes from behind this quality left jab. And that jab will bust you up. Vince got a hard job because not only do you win, you got to go out there and dethrone a good boxer. And dethroning a champion takes more than just your normal skills. You got to put in a little more.
Well, Vince Phillips will bring the activity level necessary to give him a chance at having the initiative. As Larry told you, in some fights he's thrown 100 punches per round, and he's come out hot tonight. Down goes Phillips off a right hand by Quartey.
But the referee has ruled that it was not a knockdown.
I don't know about that.
I don't either. He might have hit him on the very top of the head and caught him off balance. We'll get a look between rounds.
What do you think, George?
Well, the main thing is Vince Phillips, he established that he has a good right hand. And I think the right hand that he landed earlier was by far better than the right hand
Quartey landed.
That Quartey landed.
I got you.
Yeah, but Quartey takes a great punch. He's a great-looking fighter in there in terms of how he's made, how he's built. Very strong.
We see the replay between rounds. We'll get an opinion from George Foreman as to whether that was really a knockdown. Maybe the referee was ruling that Quartey was on his foot.
Sometimes you have to look at the boxer. Did he start to retreat, Vince, after the knockdown, or did he get up and get right back in motion? That tells you a lot more about the effects of the punch.
Another good right hand counter inside by Quartey. Vince Phillips keeps coming.
Good, tough round.
As we go to Ike Quartey's corner, where they speak French, our interpreter will be Freddie Acifo.
Tell you that you're doing. You're waiting just a little bit too long, okay? We're getting hit with a few shots, okay, here and there. You got to keep the hands up and quit waiting, okay? Once you pop the jab, drop the right hand. You waited on the right hand quite a few times, okay? Let them go, baby. How you feeling? Dig on the inside, baby. Dig, dig, dig.
All right, Larry, here's a look at...
Let's see if we can answer the question on this knockdown from the overhead. It looked like he hit him on the shoulder. I don't know if you can get a knockdown from hitting a guy on the shoulder. It looked like a glancing blow on the shoulder. Did not hit him flush.
It looks like a slip to me. The guy's off balance, and a punch was thrown at the same time. But then I don't see quite as well as I used to.
Oh, I think you're doing pretty well, George.
Well, the important thing is the referee got it right.
Ruled it a slip. So no official knockdown. Quartey landed 60% of his punches in the first round, according to punch stat numbers, a mark of his technical excellence. On the other hand, Phillips threw 115 blows in round one.
But Vince Phillips' corner told him right. He said, you got to dig in, get into that body, dig in. If you want to dethrone a champion, you just can't sit back and box. You got to dig in.
Phillips believes if he can attack Quartey effectively, he can make the Ghanaian cover up and then go to the body. So far, Quartey's been countering rather than covering up.
And if Vince wants to dethrone him, he's got to throw your punches and stay in there. Vince has a bad habit of after he delivers a good punch, he leans back on his right foot. He's able to get caught by the longer, taller Ike.
Another good right-hand counter coming underneath by Quartey. Vince Phillips just keeps on throwing.
This is a big ring, about 22 feet, but they need about 8 feet of it.
You saw Phillips snapping Quartey's head up with the uppercut, and Quartey again backs Phillips up with a hard right hand.
This is world-class back and forthing, folks.
Now, it's been established, Phillips has, that he's going to get hit after he lands his 99 punches, so to speak. Ike is going to come back. Now, once he lands his punches, he's got to just keep his body in motion forward. Don't lean back, because he's going to return some punches sooner or later. Ike is.
Quartey shows that remarkable capacity, George, to keep his eyes open inside and see every opportunity. Makes for remarkably accurate punching, and that's what he's been able to do in the first two rounds. Vince Phillips landing on the chin of Quartey as round two comes to a close. Again, our interpreter here in this corner is Freddie Asifo.
Okay, make sure you can hit him, okay? Make sure you hit him all the time. Keep the jabs flowing all the time. Take your time. He has felt the power. He knows how much power you have in your jabs. Establish your jab, stay inside, and cut off the ring. You got to stay with him. And anytime he goes backwards, follow him. All right.
Mouthpiece, okay, baby. How you feeling? How you feeling? Take it down, take it down. All right, wait a minute. Get that in swell back over. Let's go to work. You got to dig your body. You got him here, you got him there. Just give me some hips, okay? Just give me some hips. I don't care about that. Work, baby, let's work.
So far, this fight has been almost good enough to get on our Boxing After Dark series, Jim.
Here's an astonishing punch stat number, guys. Phillips was only warming up when he threw 115 punches in round one. He threw 129 of them in round two. So in 2 rounds, he's thrown nearly 250 punches. Hard to believe that a guy could keep that up over a 12-round period.
Hard to believe the other guy's got enough time to counter between those punches, but he has.
Phillips's right eye appears to be swelling. He's got a little mouse coming up under the right eye, and that's been a big problem for him in the past.
He's been cut over the left eye several times, Jim. And also, he trained with a flak jacket for a couple of weeks because of a blow in the left side of his body during training. So he appears vulnerable there, but so far we haven't seen that.
But win or lose, Quartey's going to know he's been in a fight tonight. Vince Phillips just keeps coming, George.
The thing about Quartey, no matter what happens, he comes back with this great left jab right on the side of the face of Vince Phillips. And believe me, as the fight go on, this is not what you want to happen to a challenger. I would tell Vince to get the close distance and keep that distance. Don't back away at all. Just stay right on him.
Take the jab away, you're saying.
Yeah, you just stay right on him. Whenever you throw a punch, scoot a little closer. Throw another punch, scoot a bit more closer. Don't back away.
Well, Phillips does seem to be shortening the range just a little bit here in round 3. Quartey remains very calm, continues to see every opportunity and counter effectively.
Vince is able to deal with everything that Ike throws but that left jab.
Now Quartey backs Phillips up with a right hand and seems to have wobbled him. And yes, he's got him a little bit rubber legged. Less than a minute in round 3. Quartey begins to open up. Phillips holds on. He's going to go down right here in a second. It was a counter right cross that wobbled Phillips, and he hasn't recovered yet.
And hasn't stopped wobbling yet, but he will in a minute because he's not going to last long.
This is over. This is over, and Ike Quartey, with a brilliant technical performance, takes out Vince Phillips in less than 3 rounds, although Phillips was giving it everything he had.
Well, Phillips waited all of his...
Larry Merchant's early commentary sums the whole thing up.
And that is?
Well, maybe he may have wasted too much early on in his life. And the fact is, can he come back and give it all now?
Yeah, he had a chance to be a champion, everyone thought, but during that period when you get your shot, and you don't often get 2 shots, he blew it. And he tried as hard as he could to come back and make it happen tonight, but it's too late, even with too much, not too little, because he tried as hard as any man could be expected to.
I paid more attention to that commentary than anything.
All right, let's take a look back at the action that brought the conclusion of the bout in the 3rd round, and what a display of precise punching by Quartey.
When you talk about a young fighter, lands 1 punch, doesn't dive in and lose his balance. He stands there, measures, 1 punch, then another punch. Accurate. When you have that kind of accuracy, it's hard to recover.
Yeah, even as he had to vary his footwork and chase Phillips across the ring, he was still landing the punches flush.
That's true, and there's another view. He knows when he's on the right side. The referee did a fine job. He was watching this all the time.
Talk about accurate punching, George. According to punch stat numbers, Quartey threw 98 power punches in the 3 rounds and landed 75% of them. Now, this is the end of the bout, and Quartey by this time was in danger of badly hurting Vince Phillips, so it was a good stoppage. Right there. Merciful stoppage by referee Julio Cesar Alvarado. Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Julio Cesar Alvarado calls a halt to the bout. The official time, 2 minutes, 31 seconds of round number 3. The winner by knockout victory and still the undefeated WBA welterweight champion of the world, Ike Bazooka Quartey.
Final punch stat numbers. Phillips throwing an incredible 321 punches in less than 3 rounds, but landed 29% of them as opposed to Quartey. You don't often see a number like that. 61% landing percentage with a lot of activity. Even he was averaging more than 80 punches per round, and as we told you, 75% of the power punches landed. George Foreman points out Quartey sets up everything with the jab. Look at that, 78 out of 148. When a guy does that to you, you are fighting an uphill battle. Larry Merchant now with the winners.
All right, congratulations, Ike. Hurricane Ike, we call you. Ike, it seemed that you felt you were too strong from him from the very start. You had like a little grin on your face throughout the fight.
Yeah, the guy was strong, so we are waiting for him, we start from, the strategy is we start from fourth round. So I'm waiting for him, first round, second round, the third, fourth round start.
You knew that, or felt that he would try to throw so many punches to keep you off your guard?
Yeah, I watched the tape, and that's how he fights, so I'm waiting for him to, to use his strength in the first 2 rounds. After second round, third round, we start.
How important was your jab in setting up the end of the fight?
My jab is my weapon. I use my jabs to, put him down, to wear him down. And I use it.
Let's take a look at the end of the fight, and you describe to us what you saw and felt at the time.
Yeah, it was a right. What made the damage, and he wobbled, so I have to follow.
You think because of your left hand that he was looking for the left and open with the right?
Yeah, he was looking for the left, and I used the right to, connect it. That's the right what made the damage.
All right, tell us your feelings about the other 2 outstanding welterweights in the world, and you're fighting them, Pernell Whitaker and Felix Trinidad.
Now we want Whitaker now.
You want to fight Whitaker now?
Right now in the ring. After I finish this fight, I want him in the ring.
All right, well,
anytime, anywhere, any place.
I don't think it's on the schedule tonight, but what are your feelings about Trinidad and how you would match up against Trinidad?
Well, we want Trinidad to, but we want Whitaker first, because I want to prove that I'm the best in the welterweight.
And you feel that by fighting and hopefully beating Whitaker, you would prove you're the best?
Yeah, if I beat Whitaker, I'll prove I'm the best. And I know I'm the best. That's why I want Whitaker right now in the ring.
Thank you very, very much, Ike Quartey.